Now I know that you're a big champion of women's events, and we just this month we're celebrating Women's History Month, and then a few weeks ago was International Women's Day. What were some of the key learnings and takeaways from International Women's Day that you could share with the group?
You know, it was interesting because I think, you know, when we stopped and when we paused on International Women's Day to just, you know, recognize all of the achievements of women globally and the great work that we're doing, it was also a reminder that we were less than a year away from the murders of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. You know, we were a year off of the Me Too movement and all of those things where we promised as a collective society to do better. And yet we found ourselves in this place with, you know, anti-Asian racism rampant. We find ourselves with Black women in tech, you know, literally catching hell and telling their stories of their experiences. We're finding that people holding, you know, some of the highest offices in politics are still perpetuating an atmosphere of, you know, sexual harassment or intimidation. Like, you know, it's like, but we just said we were going to do better. We just said that we were on a new path, and you know, in a way, it was frustrating and it was disheartening. But it reminds me that we can't only do the performative things. You know, I know everybody wants their leaders, their CEOs, and their companies to make a statement, and they should. I know everyone, you know, says, you know, I have a guy on my team who always says, you know, open up your purse, right? So make a donation, right? So fund the things you care about, and we should. But if we do those things without examining the outcomes of our processes, and I don't care what field you're in and what you do, if you are not examining the outcomes of your processes to see if they're producing equitable outcomes, and then if you realize that they're not, be willing to throw them away and start over, then we'll never move forward. And I don't care if your process is making television and film, if it's creating technology, if it's law enforcement, you know, if you are a teacher, whatever field you're in, how are you measuring the outcomes, and then being willing to say, this is no longer working. It's not giving me equitable outcomes. I have to scrap it and start all over.
Yeah, no, that is so true.